officially turned around, guys. We are back, baby. We are fucking back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Classic. We are back. We are back. We are getting Doug back.
And we're the three best friends that anybody could have. We're the three best friends that anyone could have. We're the three best friends that anyone can have. And we'll never, ever, 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 ever leave each other.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of Muskies on Tap. Welcome to episode number 150. Welcome to the pod.
Wow.
I'm one of your three hosts for the intro outro, Gus Manty. We got none other than Brian here in the call and Max, but Brian was not in the interview. He'll explain why, either now or at the end. So
we can dive into it at the end. I was traveling home from Vegas, brutally hungover, so even if I wasn't 30,000 feet in the air, I probably wouldn't have been able to tune in. But I do love our guy Doug, so maybe I would have gone the extra mile for him. But we'll break that down a little bit on the back end of the interview, which I think we got a good amount to debrief there. First time, probably not gonna be the last time. Had a blast.
that's good. Glad to hear. You went MIA for a couple days there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I didn't
Good
even
night
know where
one,
I
and then all of a
was.
sudden it's like, yo, Brian, how's it going? Like, don't worry about me. But
Yeah.
we also got none other than my brother Max here. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What the hell have we talked about for 150 episodes? That's
Oh,
nuts.
It's,
how to
I
catch
think
fish during a
muskies for
cold
a good
front.
bit. Yeah.
Time
How to
flies when
twitch
you're having fun.
baits,
What baits
rip
use in the
rubber,
fall?
talk about musky lures like the entire winter.
Yeah.
That's kind of
About all you can
crazy.
do.
Yeah, I think you mentioned in the last pod, I think we're like 1 week out from our 3-year anniversary. So
It's
Dang.
maybe two
it's
weeks out.
whatever the week yeah, it might even be next week. I mean, the numbers don't add up exactly on the 3-year mark. But I know that 3 years is next week because it's post Cave Run
Mm.
PMTT. That was the first one ever.
How are we celebrating that? Giveaway or
Oh, what
just
else?
kidding.
What
No,
do
I'm
you
just
think
kidding.
Merch got?
I'm just
What you
kidding.
got?
Just keeping the joke going. I think that was a couple months ago in the dead of winter when I re announced that we were going to be doing a merch giveaway, and y'all were like, "What are you talking about? We don't have any
I'm like,
merch."
don't have any merch to give away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been in the lab a little bit with some new branding ideas, just nothing really coming to the execution stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of
Hasn't
lot of
reached a
group thing.
manufacturing floor yet.
That's
Right.
kind of the tough stage though, to be honest, but it is what it
Creative
Yeah.
is.
wheels are firing.
Yeah, and a couple decent ideas are out on the table, just kind of going through board review right now.
Mm. It's a very slow board review. Like it's like shipping and handling, then it has to get to my desk and then
Yeah. A lot of
pass it on to
suits, got a lot
Gus.
of suits that it needs the green stamp of approval and
Hmm.
yeah, I get it. I get it. No man, just yeah, getting fired up here. It was at 70 degrees today in the cities. Extended forecast is looking not bad. So we'll see how the old spring shapes up for us here, but I don't know,
Yeah,
Gus,
I
why don't
guess
why don't you
I
just
was
kind of, oh, go ahead. What you got for us?
no. You said something with the warm weather. I was just gonna say that the Northwoods is heating up nicely. Pretty much everything but the big lakes are opened up. Just the deep, clear lakes had some ice on it. Some of them were like fully
Damn.
sheeted over as of yesterday. A little
You've
bit
been
of
doing any
rain, a little
smallie
bit of
fishing?
yeah. I got out today for the first time and
Whoa.
caught a couple. It's flat, calm, and sunny. Had to search for them in little different spots. They weren't really pushed up shallow like I was hoping, or at least mid depth. Had to get them on some deep rock humps, but
All
What'd
the
you have
snow
for
no, it was
water
gone?
good.
temp?
What?
What'd you
Both of
have for
y'all
water
asked
temp? Sorry, Brian.
42 to 44, 41-ish. I
That's
mean,
cold.
it was a little superficial when it was like flat calm. Every time the wind picked up, it dropped down to like 41, 42 again.
Hmm.
So that was on a lake
What
that's probably been open for 5 days, 6 days.
is all the snow gone? Just like where they plowed it, maybe still there?
Yeah, there's still snow left, like big piles from big parking lots. If you go in the backwoods, like there's a ton of trees, a lot of snow right up against the roads where it can't really melt from all the shade. Um,
Hmm.
Otherwise, we're doing pretty good. I mean, water's flowing really nice. All the rivers are nice and plump. A lot of rain up here, which has been awesome. Um, yeah, there's I think there's some statewide flooding going on too.
Oh yeah.
Like I saw down in New London,
Wyoega.
Shiocton, Waiwega. Yeah,
I'm looking at the
that's wild.
extended forecast here. Um, yeah, I mean it's looking fairly stable. Looks like it cools off for you next week, but got some warm days on the horizon. I'll be curious to see what the water temps will be during fishing opener weekend, first week of May.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah.
I mean,
Be
yeah,
pretty
wait,
cold, I
what
think.
opener again?
2 weeks. Yeah.
The general fishing opener.
Max is pronoun. May 1st.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, second. But no, all good there. We'll see you guys on the flip side of this, but we get Doug Wegner on here and we have a great interview, Max and I. So we did this a little bit prior to doing this intro. For those that are watching, this will be out on YouTube, by the way. So if you are listening and you want to watch it, head on over to YouTube, Muskies on Tap. You can find us there. Um, but yeah, we'll have an interview with Doug, and it'll be brought to you by Thorn Bros. Max is rocking the lid right there, and
Max, where's my
of
lid
course,
at? I need my Thorn Bros lid.
I got it.
Just
I
gotta
got
get
it.
my mitts for opener, I guess. Probably the next
Yeah.
time I see you.
Yeah, probably. Shit.
suppose
Got a
so.
whole
Yeah,
bag of goodies for you next time I see you.
I know. It's gonna be like Christmas.
I got one for you too, Max. Got you a Hunsy Tail goodie bag.
Whoa.
Brian, you too. Oh, Brian, you already got yours. Max, you
Uh,
know about this, I think.
Yeah, I forgot, but I appreciate the reminder. It's awesome.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we'll see you guys on the backside. Let's let this interview rip. I got a recording, so we might as well just hop right into it. So,
Yeah,
Doug, how was today? How's the walleye fishing been?
we had a good morning. We had fun. I don't know what we caught. I think we caught probably 20 this morning. We had a 30 and a quarter, so that was good. Great fish. Yeah, just been on that walleye grind, man. It's been a fun, almost a month. Today's the 19th, so yeah, I think I started on the 21st this year. So been going every day.
So
Wow.
for us musky guys, Gus, have you ever walleye fished Green Bay? I might have once, way
I did
back in the
once
day.
with Uncle Roddy. We trolled
Okay.
in Swamico, I think two consecutive years, and we did pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, that had to have been over a decade ago, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the setup like for you walleye fishing? What's kind of a typical day on the water? Is it busy out there where you're fishing? Is it I don't know, just kind of help us out. Speak to us like we're in kindergarten. Like walleye language like we're 10 to 13 years old.
Yeah, well, so we use a spinning rod. We like to put the reel on the bottom. Don't flip it upside down.
Oh
Uh,
man, I'm already
yeah,
wrong.
not no push buttons allowed. Generally no bait casters unless we're trolling. But no, it's a super fun place to walleye fish. It's not your typical jig and minnow over the side of the boat, vertical jigging. It's honestly as close as you can get to power fishing walleyes, or as close to musky fishing, I would say, as you can. So it's a lot of casting. It's shallow water. A lot of side imaging stuff. It can be baits in the bottom, baits suspended in the column. It's trolling, it's casting, it's during daylight, it's after dark. I mean, you can fish for these things as hard as you want. They're like muskies. They bite all day long. The beauty of Green Bay, like some of our best fishing, especially early spring, is honestly midday, sun out. We want that water warming. Just your typical
Hmm.
kind of spring trend. Even say if we're doing spring muskies, you like that midday warm up, sun out, light wind, or a little bit of wind blowing on a shoreline. So it's fun. It's a really cool, and they're big. That's what I really like. Is that we have some really, really, big fish. We've got 30 inchers, we've got 10, 12, 13 pounders that come in the boat every single year. So it makes it fun. But it scratches my itch. It gets me out fishing. So I've been fishing since March 21st this year. I've been going every day, and then I'm going to be keep going here for probably about another 2 weeks, and then I take a little break, and then we go full blown into muskies for the rest of the year.
Are
What
you? Oh, go ahead, Gus.
Oh, I was just gonna say what stops you to other than just prepare for muskies, and we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
Is it just like they become post spawn and they go somewhere, or I'm a walleye guy in the small lakes up here. I'm not Green Bay at all. So
No, they like even right now, like we're actually fishing for mainly post-spawn fish right now. All of our pre-spawners, they spawned about majority of the fish have spawned in the last 5 days. So they're on the backside now. But what happens is like they're just so concentrated pre-spawn and right away post-spawn, just high concentrations of fish. So being Green Bay, a great lake, Lake Michigan, tons of water. There's a lot of fish out there, but there's a ton of water. So anytime that they're, consolidated is put yourself in a really good position for high success, high numbers, a lot of fun. And then, it's kind of almost like, muskies too. Like you get that post-spawn bite where the fish are somewhat concentrated. And then there is that weird kind of lull or transition when some fish go to the open water, some fish stay shallow, some fish do this, some fish do that. So they do disperse, right? So that's really when they really disperse is kind of when I take my little break from, fishing walleyes every day and then get all my musky stuff ready. It's right on my wife's birthday. So we normally try and do a little trip or a little getaway for a few days and then come back, rested up and ready to roll, and then give her hell for how many days till it freezes, right? Till they bounce.
Yeah.
yep.
Get into the varsity type stuff. No.
Yeah.
Last walleye questions. You kind of answered it too when you were talking, but so when you're I mean obviously you've been out every day since you said what the 21st. So you're kind of, tracking these fish on a daily basis. Are you fishing, pods of walleyes, or are you guys picking out, individual fish? Like how does that kind of work? Like if you go to an area, call it you're smashing them in one spot, yesterday, you go out there today, they're not there. Are you just you kind of have something like a Rolodex of where you can find them, or are you just that day just trying to find pods of fish?
Yeah, you're just looking for pods of fish that day. And the cool thing about Green Bay too is that we do definitely have spots, but a lot of it is water temperature driven. And a lot of it's giant sand flats and roaming fish. And your structure is actually your water temperature and water color.
Hmm.
So fish can move, sometimes they stay right where they are and you can go back out, 5, 6 hours later and get them right where you got them the day before. Or some days they move, 5, 6, 8, 10 miles overnight, or they've just, that school's dispersed and you got to go find fresh fish. So it's fun in that sense. It's kind of something new every day in a sense, but you're trying to find the pattern every day, break it down, and then like I said, there definitely are spots, but there's definitely, it's not like, okay, I gotta run and like I only get to fish, these 3 spots today. Like you can fish as many areas as you want. I really don't call them spots, but you can fish a ton of different areas and always keep looking for new fish or fresh fish or different fish.
Okay. That was a much better answer than my question was. I think that's what I was trying to ask. So you did a very nice job at helping me through that one.
No, I love the walleye stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
super fun. Like I said, it's fun because they're big, and yeah, I just enjoy it. It gets me fishing and gets me on the water, and I'm a lot sharper come musky opener because I've been on the water. My boat's all dialed in. My eyes are adjusted to my electronics or whatever it is. We're looking for tiny little walleyes on side imaging or all these different ways and techniques that we fish for them. And then musky fishing is just I'm already in mid-season form, right?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So one thing we were kind of talking about before we hopped down here, and something I wanted to ask you about. So when you're talking about that transition between the walleye and the muskie season, you want to give us just like a quick hit list on some of the things you do to prepare for the long war of muskie season?
Yeah. Some things that I do, and I think we'll probably get into more. Like one thing I do a lot is just tackle preparation, and it's not just your standard sharpen your hooks, tie fresh leaders, fresh line. Like I pre-make a ton of like my bladed tube rigs. Like I've got probably 3 dozen of those ready to go before the season comes about. I cut apart and rebuild a ton of bucktails. I build all my own rear spinner kits, whether that's for tubes or for bucktails or all different sizes of blades and clevises or swivels or all that kinds of stuff. So I tinker with a lot of stuff in the off season. Because come guiding season, it's go, go, go. And every, minute you have off the water, you either want to do something that's life related or catch up, pay your bills or whatever you have going on or sleep.
Yeah.
So a lot of that for me, like I probably have 60 bucktails sitting on a shelf right now that I'll have just hanging up that all need to get rebuilt, right? Like either ones that I bought this year that I want to tinker with or play with, or ones that I built in years past that didn't perform right that I need to change this or change that or kind of, play with this or that. I mean, sharpening hooks is obviously one thing too. And then even with rubber baits, like there's plenty of, swapping out hooks is a big deal for me. I hate a lot of our standard hooks that come in our lures. So a lot of replacing hooks because in the moment when you're on the water, none of us want to miss a cast. We all want to cast, none of us wants to take 2 minutes off to go change a hook, but you have all winter to do that, right? Like we get such a short window to musky fish, less than half of a year, right? So like I don't want to waste a single minute on the water digging through trying to find a replacement hook to put on this dog or deuce or swim bait or whatever it may be when it's taking away time that it's something I could have done in the off season. I'm huge on preparation. So, but it's more than just like you said, plugging in the boat or respooling line or tying on fresh leaders. Like for me, I want to make sure all my tackle is super organized, everything is in tip-top shape, ready to go. And if we get to cut a hook, sweet, I'll dig a new hook out. But
And are you
Right.
doing any sort of like, for example, Gus and I, he was driving back from a seminar yesterday, and him and I probably spent an hour and 15 minutes just talking about different lakes we're going to try out this year, different spots we're going to hit, what our plans were for, our Muskie opener, Memorial Day weekend, and just kind of like what we plan on doing. And I think that goes a little bit into the prep for the season too. Like I don't know how useful that stuff is, but it sure is a lot of fun. Do you do any of that where you're already kind of looking into like, call it even an end of April or May, like hey, I'm gonna try this out on Lake of the Woods this year. I'm gonna for sure hit this spot, a couple of these spots early season. Are you starting to get those wheels spinning on where
oh
you're
yeah,
actually gonna start going and fishing?
yeah, I think those have probably been spinning since December.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
just, I mean, I lay in bed at night so much in the winter, just staring at maps, marking waypoints, new spots, new areas. Google Earth is my best friend. One Boat Network. Yeah, like there's so many things that scouting stuff that I do in the off season. Booking trips. Jess and I are going on a couple trips this year to new places that I've never been before that I'm super excited about.
Sweet.
Yeah, and even some lakes that are newer to us that we've been to, but just at different times of the year. And yeah, I mean that all that stuff I think I kind of have done. I just need the tackle stuff is kind of the thing that I don't know if I push it to the very end or procrastinate on that the most. But I probably laid I don't know, anywhere between 1,000 and 1,200 waypoints on my phone this year on say 6 different bodies of water, across the country that I plan on seeing or visiting this year, right? And setting up stuff and even like just the scheduling. Yeah, you got a lot of prep work's already done. I'd say the hardest stuff is already done. Now it's just the fun tackle tinkering. We're 80% through our prep for this year, I would say.
Goodness gracious. I don't know how you don't get overwhelmed in that. I'm getting overwhelmed just looking at the lakes in our little area of Vilas Oneida, this
Well, that's
region.
the thing. Well, that's part of it too. Like you guys have dozens and dozens of lakes that you guys can fish and jump around it, which is super cool. Whereas I'm looking at probably a 10, maybe a dozen lakes total that I want to fish. And man, I might not even I won't get to all 12 of them this year, but in the next 3 years or 5 years, I'd like to get to those. So, but you guys have like, and maybe the bodies of water that I'm probably looking at are much larger than the ones that you guys are talking about or jumping around to. So, I mean, there's multiple ways to look at that, I guess, but you guys have it overwhelming in the sense that there's so many different lakes versus I have the lakes that I want to fish or that I'm interested in going to right now is a shorter list, say a dozen, but there's a lot of water on those 12 lakes or places.
Yeah.
Right.
Funny thing, like when
Right.
I was talking to Gus yesterday, it's like we were like, we really want to go check out this lake. And it's like, well, if that lake sucks, like what else is
Where
around
else are
it
we
that
gonna?
we even know? Like we don't want to have to go, drive an hour to only get skunked and then have to leave and then have to drive another because you're talking about like you don't even want to waste a cast. changing a hook out, right? Like we were
Right.
talking about opener, we're like, well, we don't want to be stuck because it's happened to us in the past where all of a sudden we're driving down, highway whatever in Vilas County, you're like, okay, where are we going? We don't know where to go. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
we're
Well,
all
that's
got
the
our
thing.
phones
Like,
out.
I say that to myself all the time. Like, how many muskies do we drive by to get to this spot, right? From the last
Right.
spot we were at, right? And how many lakes
Yeah.
did you guys drive past that have muskies in them to get to your next muskie lake? Like, it's the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing.
It's crazy. Yeah,
It's
it's just like being efficient is definitely one way to put it, but like sticking to a game plan. I feel like we didn't do anything that crazy different however many years ago on opener, but I feel like we screwed up because we would make all these random decisions to just jump ship or move lakes or not give it the time or I'm sure you maybe have done that on more of like the Canadian Shield or even Green Bay, I guess you got to make large runs depending on
absolutely.
what the bite is, if it changes, whether it's August or opener or, I don't know if you still do the trolling thing in like September and October, but I'm sure that switches on a dime. I had one question. Um, it's kind of very specific to like more Canadian Shield, kind of
Yeah.
selfish too, because we'll be going to Wabagoon this August, and we're gonna also start, dropping waypoints, looking at spots, looking at satellite, looking for bays and rocks and all that sort of things. Like when you have all these waypoints set in advance of going to like a new lake, um, kind of a two-part question, but at first when you go to this spot that you've never ever been before, are you either taking casts right away, or are you gonna drive past it and like side image it, see where the rocks are, the weed edge, like and then make a decision from there? Because like that's a time saver. Like if you do that and it looks terrible, you go to the next spot, you just saved a lot of time, or you drive by it and it looks amazing, but you wasted the time to drive through it.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think a lot of that just comes down to like then and there what's going on. But I think if I have in my mind that I'm going to fish it, I'm probably going to fish say the first at least three or four, say in a new place or new body of water. And if I'm getting burned and not necessarily getting burned in the sense of not seeing fish or not catching a fish, but not seeing what I like to see, either if it's not the right kind of rock structure, not the right kind of weeds or a lack of weeds, right? If I get burned by three or four spots in a row that I've fished that to me looked really good on the map that I took time out of my day to go and fish, I'm a lot less likely to go fish number 5 and 6 and 7, where those ones I'd probably drive through first, right? So because you can only see so much on Google Earth, like just because it looks good on Google Earth doesn't mean it looks good when you're staring at your side imaging or you're in the middle of fishing the spot, right? There's a big
Right.
difference there. So it's tough that when even things that look good on a map don't look good, when you're there, and vice versa. Things that don't look good on a map, you drive past and you're like, holy crap, that's like the coolest looking spot in the lake. And on Google Earth or on a map, it doesn't look like anything. So it's I think I try and stick to a plan or make a plan and somewhat hold to it unless I'm getting burned by it. And I'm not saying burned as in not catching fish or not seeing fish, but just not seeing what I want to see or what I expected to be there.
Hmm.
Gotcha.
If that
No, that
answers
makes sense.
the question.
Yeah, I think so. I think that answered even the second part, which just had to do with fishing it or not, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that lines up.
it's no different than saying like if you're trying to figure out a pattern and you go fish five, you're going to fish five weed spots, five rock spots, five sand spots, right? And then like if you're getting burned by five of those weed spots, you're not going to go fish a sixth weed spot. You're going to go fish a rock spot or a sand spot or a deeper break, right? So it's just, you know, you can't expect a change unless you make a change.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, not to switch gears too hard here, but I do want to make sure we get to this before we get too in the weeds on the musky stuff. Um, so you got a pretty exciting new development coming out here in the near future, and I don't want to steal the show here, so I'll let you kind of explain what you got cooking behind the scenes and what's dropping here in the near future.
Yeah, well, thanks to you guys too. I mean, you guys have helped a lot with this. You guys have heard we've been doing the discount code with Muskies on tap, the MOT code for you guys, but we launched nextgenmuskies.com, the website, at the Chicago Muskie Show this year. We basically took our YouTube membership and then moved it over to our own personal website. So we were kind of sick of dealing with the YouTube kind of drama and BS and being told what we couldn't do. So I just hired a guy to build us a website so we can do our own thing, have a lot more freedom, have a lot more creativity, and bring you guys even better information than in years past. So we worked on that I worked on that all winter. I ice fished one day all season. And then now we've been continuing to go through with that, and we're super stoked to be launching it as a mobile app here in the coming week. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this gets released, but I worked really hard to try and get it done by the time we got to this. But regardless, we're gonna have a mobile app for Apple and Android, so you can have Next Gen Muskies on your phone. You can access your account right from there. We're still gonna have the website. We still encourage everybody to go on the website and sign up on the website physically, and then download the app and sign into that personally. But with that, we're going to have an app right on your guys' phone with all kinds of amazing musky intel and knowledge. So we're stoked about it. We got to put a ton of time and effort into it, and we're still doing that as we speak.
What is ventured into the app creation world? I mean, how was that? Was that was
I'm,
that interesting, or did it go pretty smooth?
it's total, like, you want to talk about weeding through the slop. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's insane. I'm lucky I have some friends and some connections that are way smarter than I am, and guys that are willing to help me out. So I got a good friend of mine that both myself and Jesse actually work with them. He designed our website. Now he's designing the app, and we're basically just right now waiting, I believe, on the Apple authorization to go through. So I think we're good on Android right now, and then Apple we're waiting for. So we haven't technically fully released it yet, but it will be out there very, very soon. We're just waiting to go through the last, cross the T's, dot the I's, because it is an insane mess to get an app put out to the world. Holy crap.
Yeah. So
I believe that.
I've kind of always wanted to ask you this, and it's going to be a roundabout way on how I'm going to get there. But so like, for the people that maybe are just getting into musky fishing, and they don't know who Doug Wegner is quite yet. And they're listening to this podcast, they're like, download an app, subscription based stuff. Like, I'd like to kind of know who this Doug guy is before I figure this out. Is there any like of your old YouTube videos, and not to put a spotlight back onto the YouTube stuff, but is there any like old YouTube stuff you'd recommend people to go back and watch that's still out there? There's some of your favorite stuff that you released. I mean, I'm sure it's probably really hard to pick just one, but are there any just kind of couple like general trips you did, or any videos
Yeah.
that you look back on like, yeah, those were bangers?
I mean, from what I hear from all the people that have been with us for, I think we've been on YouTube for over 10 years now. Everybody talks about the Week on the Woods series. Like, everybody talks about that, which was a super fun series, part one and part two. Were both great. It was a bummer that part two got cut short. But those were great. There's a bunch of awesome just sniplet videos in there from all over. But I think the Week on the Woods one really is just showing two buddies going to a super amazing place in northwestern Ontario on Lake of the Woods, and just showing everything that happens, the good, the bad, the ugly, and just going through all of it. And I mean, shoot, at the time we filmed that, I was, I don't know, what the hell was I, 21 or 22 years old. Crazy. I was, yeah, 21 years old. Maybe it was even 20. 21, 22. But regardless, it was just super fun. And we were all learning as we went. And still to this day, I don't know everything about muskies. I know a lot about muskies. I don't know everything. And we've brought that into the app too, where we've brought other people into it because from other places, because I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And I just want to help everybody be successful on the water. And I think if we bring in anglers from all parts of the country, we can do a lot better job of helping new anglers catch more muskies, and even experienced anglers. Like, the amount of in Muskie Hunter magazine stuff that I read growing up, like, I was, and even to this day, like, if you're ever done learning, you're done growing. Like, you can't just shut it off. So I don't know. The long story short, Week on the Woods series is a great one to watch. There's just so much. I wish we still had that cinematic feel and vibe to a lot of our stuff, but now it's just so much more educational. Is what I'm really, really good at. Is I feel that I'm best at, more so than entertainment. Is the education side of it.
That's probably two good words I was about to bring up anyways, is like the Lake of the Woods series is awesome, just like an entertainment factor of musky fishing, of like really getting the raw feel of like what musky fishing is, like fishing hard, going up to a beautiful place in Canada and catching muskies and losing them and having a good time with with your friends and whatnot. But then there's just the whole part that I think a lot of people miss coming into the muskie industry now that there are, podcasts and YouTube videos everywhere, that it gets a little washed and flooded, and the educational aspect kind of goes out the window, and everybody getting into the sport just wants to be like, I want to throw just that lure just because I saw him throw that lure, and then they go throw that lure and they have no idea what they're doing with that
Hmm.
lure. They don't even know like how to start working it, and then they get frustrated, and it comes in like a full circle. So I feel like the educational aspect is it got lost for a little while there, but I think it's coming back,
Yeah, and
and
I,
next gen is definitely one place to find a lot of it.
yeah, I think anything that's worth, you can only get so much information for free, and anything that's worth value eventually is going to cost something, right? So like it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to weed through all of the information that's out there now because there's so much stuff. You've got the internet, you've got YouTube, you've got all this stuff. So it's like what do you listen to? What do you believe? What don't you believe? And where's the best value in all this? And it really comes down to if there is probably truly value to it, some of it might be free, but not all of it's going to be free. It's no different than guides. Like your buddy might take you muskie fishing and he might be good at it. But if you probably want a really good experience or to learn something, really special, you're going to want to probably hire a guide who's been, doing this on this lake for X amount of years or in this part of the country for this amount of years. So at some point, there is the value in it when the people who truly believe they have something figured out or have a really good corner on what they're doing, it's eventually going to cost something at some point. There's only so much good free information out there. And if you listen to everything that's free, you're going to get pulled in so many different directions and you might not be getting, the best information that's out there.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely I think feel that to my core. I mean, we certainly tried to be a little bit more on the entertainment side with the podcast because I think something that does kind of get lost in it, when you try to and props to people that do the education stuff and really know what they're doing because it's tough, like there's no one size fits all for musky fishing. And we've had, countless guests on now. And you could go back and if you've listened to every episode, there's 100% contradictions in what people are saying when you listen to so many different guides and so many different guests that we've had on. One guy might like, this time of year for this reason, while another guy swears that that is like the worst, 2, 3 week stretch of the year. So it's tough. And you talked about like where to trust to get your information from. I think that's a really big piece of it. Like finding somebody that you can feel comfortable with and knowing like, okay, this is all great starting points. And then at the end of the day, I mean, the most, education, right, is getting time on the water and going out there and actually trying to execute stuff. And then that's when I feel like the learning curve really hits the hockey stick,
Yeah.
and you start ramping up. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, go ahead.
I
Go
think
ahead.
you got to just find, I just think you have to find someone that you align with as far as like maybe it's your fishing style, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, because you can have, like you said, people that contradict each other. And there's some people they're probably really good muskie anglers and things that work for them might not ever work for me. Just like if you try and replicate someone else's bite, sometimes it's so hard to replicate theirs, let alone do it better than what they're doing. So you have to find someone that, someone's fishing style or how to that you really align with whether if you're a rubber guy, a topwater guy, a twitch bait guy, right? Like I'm not the greatest with twitch baits. There's plenty of other people you should listen and talk to about dive and rise baits and twitch baits, right? But if you want to talk about, bucktails or rubber or topwater, I've got a ton of experience with that stuff, right? So you just got to find who you align with and what makes sense for you and try and figure out your own way. Like everybody's musky path, I think should be their own. But you have to figure out, ways to make it your own, but still be on the trends and what's going on and, kind of pave your own way with help from everyone. I'm the same way. Like I have tons of influence from my friends and anglers that I look up to and, people in my life that influence me one way or the other of how to fish, what to fish, all these different things. So I think there's plenty of people out there that you can take really good inspiration from. You just have to figure out who you want that to be. And it shouldn't just be one person, in my opinion, either. Like it should be a handful of people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it
You
shouldn't
get
be
different
everybody. Like,
perspectives.
but it
Yeah,
shouldn't be
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
everybody's
It's
too
kind of
much.
Still gotta
finding that happy medium. Finding that
Exactly.
balance
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, I could parallel this like a little bit, Max, and we've talked about this a lot with just fishing tournaments. And you all of a sudden put a bunch of really good musky fishermen into one area, or at the what do you call it, the welcome meeting the night before the tournament, whatever. You put them all there, and you got people are yapping around and chatting this. I'm on this bite, this and that, do this, yada yada, all this stuff. There's just a ton of influence there. Everyone's a really good muskie angler, but it's just, when it all boils down to it, Max and I have had the best success when we do our own thing and we stick to our own game plans and we try to not let anything else, go through the filter of our ears and what we're wanting to do. I mean, we have
Yeah.
a game plan, we stick to it. I get a lot of influence from people, and we've told stories on when people say this is what the bite is and they don't eat this, we would go out there and catch them on what they don't eat.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
let's just do our own thing. So,
Well, and
um,
just like you talk in tournaments, I mean, you want to talk about how there's no one right way to do it. I mean, even with all, say you got 100 good fishermen on a chain like the Eagle River chain or any of the stops that they typically go to year after year after year, right? And you'd think, well, okay, they've been to the Eagle River chain, 30 times or 25 times in the past 30 years. Like there should be just this one way to win the tournament, right? But every year it's different, and every year when that starting gun goes off, you got, 15 boats heading upriver, 10 boats heading to your east, 15 boats heading down south. So like everyone's got a different idea in their head on what they're gonna have success with that day. And then you get done after day one, even at day two, you go and start talking to people. I was getting them on glide baits. Oh, we were getting them on, Magnum rubber. Oh, we were getting them on single five bucktails. So it's like,
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
it's one of those things where, I think it all goes back to what you were saying, Doug, with you kind of, if you're in the learning process, which you always are, you find people that you can relate to and who you trust, and then you got to just get out there and start figuring it out yourself too.
Yeah. And like you said too, I mean, there's nothing replaces time on the water. That is the number one best tool to learn and to grow as an angler is spending time on the water. That and there's no way to replace that. But the second best thing I think you can do is all the map studying, right? The lure tinkering or the preparation, or if it's watching videos on Next Gen, or if it's all this other prep work that you can do when you don't are not on the water, don't have the time to be on the water. So I'm like I said, I'm huge on preparation. And if you can't be fishing, right? You might as well be getting ready to go fishing, whether that's playing with your baits, playing with your tackle, or learning or watching videos on how to catch or be more successful or find new spots or whatever the topic you want to look into is.
Yeah, and another cool thing is like with the stuff you're putting out. I mean, at the end of the day, like again, there's going to be so many different ways to do it. But even if you just take like one small thing from one of your videos, say it's like a re way to retrieve a rubber bait, or when this condition shows up, this is what I typically like to throw. And it goes from somebody catching zero muskies to catching one muskie. The great part about muskie fishing is that's the difference between, a bad day and an amazing day,
Yeah,
right? So like
yeah.
the line, Gus and I always talk about this, like the line between being like an absolute killer and being a zero is pretty thin a lot of the times. It
You're
just
one
comes down
cast.
one
You're one
cast, one
cast
little
away.
decision.
Yep.
So that stuff I really like 'cause it's like, you just that one little thing maybe you picked up from one of your videos, all of a sudden it triggers on your in your brain, on a day out on the water, and then boom, next thing you know, you caught a fish and it made the world a difference. So
Yeah,
um
what I mean, I guess I got a question for you guys. Instead of me getting grilled over here, I'm going to grill you two.
okay,
You guys
go
have
for it.
been, once we talked about getting you guys to work with the next gen, what you guys have had access to all the videos. What have you guys liked so far? What do you guys see, or is there any things that pop out in your mind that you guys have watched that you guys really like?
oh boy, I know recently I watched your bait haul video because everybody loves a bait haul from
Everybody loves bait hole.
the expos, and just the variety that you got was pretty crazy. And I like how you're already bringing up what I definitely liked about that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it more, is he didn't just grab a bait and say, "Hey, look at this color. This is really cool." Set it down. Grab the next bait. This is kind of cool, isn't it? You talked like this bait is gonna probably crush here because of this. And it's like, here's the blade color, here's when I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna like it in this situation. I might tinker with this. Hey, look at this rubber bait. It's got a hook placement here. I really like how it's got that. I'm gonna upgrade to these hooks. Like you just give a nice recipe of what you're gonna
Sure.
do with those baits. So that's one that I saw recently. I'm trying to think. I know the other night I put on the tube one. Um, that was neat. I don't have a molder or whatever. I got a buddy. I think I'm gonna try to maybe make the Wagner rig.
Yeah.
Um, but so far it's been just the Red October rig with you know, the way that you build your rear blade attachment.
Yep.
That same way with the
Yeah,
wire
it,
shrink tube.
yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Max is like, knock it off. Quit talking.
yeah. Gus kind of honestly took a bit of mine. I was gonna say a lot of the mod stuff is sweet. I just like seeing what you're doing with different baits, and we don't need to go into too big a depth there. But I always just like seeing what other people are doing. You know, like a Red October tube is such a funny bait. We've talked about a lot on this podcast, but it's just a hunk of rubber with some tentacles off of it, and then there's 25 different things you can do with it to, okay, help your hookup percentage, help the way it falls, help the action, like all this different stuff to actually get it dialed in and have confidence with it. So I would say the mods are great, and then what you're doing with the in-depth stuff with other people that hop on, I think is really good
Mm.
because, like you said,
oh yeah.
having people actually talk about like very specific things that they have success with is awesome for certain bodies of water because then people that are fishing those bodies of water, like those are just, I mean, that's gold to
Yeah.
listen to somebody who's out
For
there doing.
for one that's coming up, I mean this will actually come out. Isn't Cave Run coming up in a week?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Unfortunately, Max and I are not going to be going down for that event, but I mean, you just had Greg Thomas on, Doug, and
Yeah.
I listened in on that one, and I think he talked about trolling and short line trolling for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
I want to say, which
Yeah.
is pretty sweet.
It was
Mhm.
amazing.
I enjoyed that. I mean, that's like a totally different animal that people hear about it so much, but that guy's knowledge on that was pretty immense. I really enjoyed that one. And that's just another one of those things like Max said, and you were bringing up too. It's like getting people from all these areas and just, compiling it.
Yeah, and that, it's fun to have, I think so we had Greg on, we had Spencer Berman, we just did Luke Ronestran last week. Those have been our three
I'll have to
interviews.
look
So
back at those.
yeah, so Luke's was super good too. But the cool thing about all these guys is one, they're absolute hammers where they fish and have been stood the test of time. But two, like how I kind of know how a lot of those guys fish, or I know what I have confidence in, or how I fish, and how I've educated my audience to, what I'm really good at or really successful with. So for me, it's fun to kind of poke and prod at those guys to ask questions about what I'm not good at. And that's maybe short line trolling, or that's talking to Luke about topwater baits or different kind of topwater baits, right? Or talking to Spencer about fishing more open water rubber stuff, or how he gets his rubber baits to do this or do that, or why he likes this over that with rubber baits. Like the amount of, fine detail that these guys have in their respected waters is so incredible. And I'm a huge detail freak. So to really, for me, it's super fun to kind of poke and prod these guys and get the goods out of them. For, not just the surface level stuff, but the really deep stuff where they kind of open up a door or a crack, and then I just throw a wedge right in that thing. And I'm like, all right, we're going down this rabbit hole, and I'm going to get every ounce of it out of you, right? Same thing with Greg with the short line trolling. Sure, like throwing a couple down rods in is one thing, but like Greg's detail in what he does and the baits he fishes and the leads he runs and how he runs it is insane. But to go down that kind of rabbit hole with all of these super high end anglers has been super fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got a
Yeah.
question for you, Doug. I was gonna ask it maybe a little bit earlier, but now might be the right time when you said, you're very detailed fisherman. You have your things that you do well. You love to do that. That's how it's probably more so categorized as power fishing. If you're rubber bucktail topwater, that's definitely power fishing.
Yep.
Phenomenal way to catch fish, as always. But for all your travels, I'm kind of curious. Do do you take notes? Do you even have time to take notes? Like
It's so
you
bad.
just you
It's
just power your way through these bites, like power into the next one. It's like, shit, this one's done. All right, I'm gonna barrel into this next one that we definitely got onto last year because I think it's shifting, or like, is it down to more of a science? Does that make sense? Because I like to take musky notes,
you're a
and
better
it's
thing.
trends and weather and everything like that, and I will look at years past and pick a lake based on past experiences.
I love that.
And one biggest thing that I found out is I get a lot more information about the shitty days. I learn way, 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 way more on the really bad days what not to do. And
Yeah.
I feel like that was some mistakes I made as an early angler. Is I'd look back at notes and be like, crap, I just went to that same lake in the same time of year in the same weather pattern where I got skunked last year and I just got skunked again. Huh. I don't want to
Yeah.
make that
So
mistake anymore.
I've said that a lot too. Like I learn more on the hard days than the good days. Because if you can crack that one code, or you know, if you're, you know, we're I'm very blessed to where I fish on woods where, you know, our goal when I leave the dock for the day is like 3 or 4 fish is always my goal for the day. But like if we catch 3 or 4 fish, sure, like we had a good day. Like I feel accomplished. I feel like we did a good job. But if we're having a tough day and we only catch one fish, it to me it means a lot more of how did we catch that one fish, because what should have been working or what normally works wasn't working. So what were the adjustments we had to make to catch one? To
Mhm.
me, I learn more sometimes by catching one than I do by catching 10, right? In it sounds crazy, but I think you can learn more from those tough days than you can from the good days. If they're biting everything and they're on every spot you go to, this, that, or the other, are you really that good? Or are the fish just going, right? I think there's a lot more to be said for when you're having a tough day, when things aren't going right, the fish are not where you expected them to be. What changes did you make it happen today? I think that's a big thing.
Right.
Um, and then going back to the other side of your question of, you know, how do I should take notes. I wish I took notes. I'm really happy that you do. And one thing that I've told myself 100 times that I don't know why I don't, because I could literally drive home and hit the microphone button on my phone and just start talking and spill
Right.
out what the weather was, what the water temperature was, what was this, and I could just dump it all in my notes on my phone, and I could do that. And for some, I don't know why I don't. Probably because honestly, like my customer, I spend so much time with my customers, and I want it to be such a good experience for them. I don't want to have to tell them like they stay at my house. I'm at a place right now. My customers are staying with me. They're taking a nap right now in between fishing. You know, I don't want to babble their ear off as we're driving home. Like I want to talk about the day and how exciting it was, or you know, what we thought, or what are we going to do tomorrow, or start making that game plan. And then by the time I get home, you throw something, you know, eat something quick, and then you just crash, or you dump footage, and I just crash. But footage helps me a lot. I take a lot of pictures of my graph for water temperature reasons.
Yeah.
So I can go back and look and see, okay, when were these fish biting? What was the water temperature for me is a huge deal, no matter where I am. But I don't necessarily, when you were talking about the bites and said, okay, this bite's over, I want to go to the next bite. The problem that I have is I get bored so fast that I generally somewhat know the progression of the bites or how things are going to go. I can't wait until that bite's done to go on to the next one. I normally cut the bite short to start on the next one early.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, you know,
Hmm.
maybe I'm sick of the area. Maybe I'm sick of fishing these presentations, or, you know, this style, and I want to fish a different style. And I'm always pushing maybe that envelope to get there earlier. And generally I'm going to, you know, struggle those first couple days because maybe you know, all the conditions aren't right. But again, that comes back to it really helps me dial in on, even though all the conditions aren't right and maybe the majority of the fish aren't there or doing that thing yet, if I can catch a few fish, it tells me or helps me learn what's really, really important to that's going to set me up even better as that bite that I'm on is going to continue to get better rather than trying to hold on to that bite as long as I possibly can before it totally burns out.
I
That makes a
think
lot of sense.
that does make a lot of sense. I got I'm gonna it probably boil into like one statement here. I feel like the beginning of a bite is a lot better than the tail end of a
Thousand
bite.
percent.
100%.
Almost so much. Like if it's no different, I'm in the middle of walleye fishing, so like I'm just going to use this. But when I find a school of walleyes and I start banging on them, by the time I call Kyle and let him know, right, or by the time when Kyle finds a school and starts banging on them and calls me, by the time either one of us get to where the person is that's catching them, we already missed it.
Hmm.
90% of the time, the peak of that is already over, right? You have to find it on your own in order for it to be the best that it can be.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Rather
Does.
be early than late for sure.
Absolutely.
So you said you carved out a few hours the other night to attend the spring hearing. I'd be curious to just get your thoughts on what you thought of it. How did it go? Just
Which county did you
generally,
go? Did you go
yeah,
to?
yeah. Where were you at, and kind of how things went at yours?
Yeah, I think I started my guide trip early that I had two trips a day. I had an 8 and a 5, and I started early so I could get done by like 7. I think I started at 5. I started whatever. I started early in the day, like in the dark, so I could get my two trips ran, get done, and then drive the 45 minutes down to Green Bay to the technical college or wherever they hold it. I forget the name. But yeah, ran down there quick, ran inside, got there just in time to hear the ones that weren't on. I circled whatever, did the rest of the list, but then the obviously the Muskie opener came up and supported pushing that back to our old opener of Memorial Day weekend. So just ran down there quick, made that happen. And honestly, I'll be honest, I left the meeting probably after a half hour being there. Just made sure I did everything I needed to do. I didn't need to hear about the birds and the bees and the wildflowers and whatnot. I tried to support as much stuff as I could. I know I circled everything for like I'm a huge proponent. I think all of our license fees should be higher and increased, and any way we can help fund our DNR is a good thing. From the meeting I was at, it sounded like they're really struggling for funding and money and everything else. So I think we can all kind of reach in our pockets and help. Throw a couple dollars from everybody goes a long ways to help support our DNR and our fisheries and everything else.
Right. I think that was like the first thing they mentioned at ours in Vilas County. What county was it? Was it like
Brown. I went to Brown
Brown
where I
County?
went. Yeah,
Okay.
it was where I went to.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Was there like so for example, and we went pretty into detail on the Vilas County one. It was pretty well attended. We had over 100 people
Wow,
at
that's
the
awesome.
Vilas County one, and for a second it got a little hostile, sorta. As soon
Interesting.
as the opener was talked about, and then the reasonings and whatnot by the DNR, and a couple people kind of shouted, and I explained that I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like seeing somebody with aligned views. I was there for the same reason this person was there. Don't know who it was, nor would I want to name any names at all either. Um, but I just didn't like the representation. I feel like that hostility between muskie fishermen and the DNR, it sucks. Even if our views don't align or people, we want more of this and that, and the
Yeah.
DNR is like, no, we can't do, even if it's like that, I just feel like that's kind of the wrong direction. Um, but just, talking with meeting a lot more people from Green Bay, it sounds like you guys have a much better relationship with your DNR. Your program's doing really well. You guys backed off this new opener to be earlier. You have your old, I can never remember the word. It's almost like um, it's like a program that Green Bay's on, I think. I don't know if it's
It's like a
a good way to put
rehabilitation
it.
program, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
a
For the musky
project.
stocking, yeah, our projects,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, project.
bringing, yeah, for bringing
Right.
musky stock or natural reproduction back or trying to bring back natural reproduction. Our biologist Jason is a really nice guy. I think he's in a tough spot. He's got a lot of people looking at him, and we have you could argue the premier fishery in the state of Wisconsin. I think there's a lot of pressure on Jason. Um, he's a numbers guy. He's a facts guy. And I don't necessarily always agree with him 100% on a lot of things, but I think overall he's doing a good job. He's very accessible to us as far as if you have questions, or he's came in and talked at our, the Titletown Club and has done a good job that way. So I think, all these people that work in the DNR have it super tough. I think we need to cut everybody a little bit of slack. They're there to try and protect our resource and help
Seriously.
our resource. And, these are the resources that we get to enjoy and try and go and spend our free time doing. But none of these people that are working in the DNR are making a shit ton of money or making money hand over
Right.
fist. I mean, they're scraping by, but they're doing it because they care about the resource. So I think we need to cut them some slack there and just try and support them, and like you said, try and get aligned with other anglers, or on just give people respect, I think is a big thing, and try and get everybody that we all want probably the same thing. We just have to figure out how to do it together.
Yeah, I think
Is a
that
tough
makes.
one.
Yeah, and that's what was one thing that was kind of interesting about this whole opener thing is it feel like it really kind of got people to like I don't know if band together is the right word, but it got enough momentum where people were showing up to these spring hearings that probably never would have gone.
Yeah.
And it just makes me wonder if there's, maybe different things we could put energy towards how there was energy put towards this Northern Wisconsin opener, which was cool to see. I mean, it's great when people are getting involved. I think Gus and I, for the first time in our lives, have really started to care about this stuff, even though we probably should have been for much longer. Um, and you mentioned, there's some things that you would do differently or maybe you would change. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but what are maybe some of those things that you're just kind of seeing from a 10,000 foot view as a guide and somebody who's on the water, every day? Is it walleye stuff? Is it bass stuff? Is it musky stuff?
It's more musky stuff.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, it's more walleye stuff, I should say, than anything. It's more walleye stuff and guiding stuff. I wish we had a guide fee or guide license. I think it's absolutely insane that I can make a living off of a public resource for $40 a year. Um, I think that's ridiculous, regardless of, I haven't killed a fish out of Green Bay, whether that be a walleye intentionally, right? A walleye, a muskie, anything, a smallmouth, a brown trout, anything out of Green Bay in at least 5 years. It's been all catch and release. Every single walleye goes back. Obviously, muskies and bass and trout. Um, but I think it's crazy that we don't have a license or a fee for a license that's $1,000 a year, $2,000 a year, $5,000 a year to make a living off of a public resource and have that money go back into stocking or research or whatever it may be. I would like to see that increased. I'd like to see our fishing licenses increased. I'd like to see our non-resident fishing licenses increased. I think all of our license fees need to go up. If we don't have any money, we need to, and $20 to fish for a season is incredibly cheap. 40, it's no different than the guide license. $40 to be able to guide full time is insanely cheap. I mean, granted, I need a captain's license, but that money doesn't go towards the state, right? I mean, Gus doesn't need a captain's license in northern Wisconsin. He needs a $40 guide license and a
Yep,
$20
that's it.
fishing license. So it's crazy. I wish we had a catch and release walleye season on Green Bay. Right now, we can only keep one fish over 15 inches or 20 over 28 inches if you're in the Fox River, but I wish it was just strictly catch and release. Everybody's here to, I shouldn't say everybody, 95% of the people that come to Green Bay or visit Green Bay are just here for a trophy opportunity and they don't keep fish regardless. But when you get people fishing by dams or fishing in rivers and snagging fish, and then they're harvesting fish, and generally the fish they're going to harvest are going to be large. So I wish if we can have a catch and release bass season, why can't we have a catch and release walleye season? It drives me absolutely nuts. We have a closed perch season on Green Bay. Okay, we don't
I
have
heard
a
about that.
walleye season. Yeah, like we
I
we
didn't know
protect
that was a
our
thing.
perch. We protect our
I thought
perch more than we protect our walleyes.
that's ridiculous. I I
I'm
heard
all
about that.
for
I'm
it.
like,
Like I
I
I
thought,
think it's awesome. We have these
oh,
big,
right, right. Yeah,
huge 3 pound perch at times of the year, like world class trophy perch fishing. I think it's amazing we
yeah.
protect them during the spawn. You can't keep any, right? You're not supposed to target them. I wish we could still, do what we do. We still fish for our walleyes and do catch and release with our walleyes, but you know how many phone calls it would save the DNR if they didn't have to worry about 20 snagging calls every single night on the Fox River, the O'Connell River, the Pesci River, the Menominee River, right? All these people snagging fish in the tail and then taking them home as their one fish over 15 inches or 28 inches. It's insane. Like, why does a bass get special privilege? I can guarantee you a smallmouth in 40-degree water with some old catch and cook on it, a little bit of salt and pepper, tastes pretty darn close to a 24-inch walleye coming out of Green Bay in 40-degree water. Blind taste test might not be that big of a difference, but because it's a bass, we have to catch and release it. But because it's a walleye and they're known as a fish that we eat, we're allowed to keep one. So
Interesting.
That's my
That's
that's my little
funny.
spiel and down the rabbit hole
Yeah.
of the sea
The
change.
walleye fish fry, I feel like is
I don't
just
even know
so
if I want to
enough.
step into that up here. There's like a billion different regulations on the lakes up here. It's like 15-inch minimum slots, one over this thing. And, for a while they had the, no keeping, catch and release only on the Minocqua chain for a while. And then that's now blown up and that fishery's gone down the hole, uh, on walleyes. And that was, I mean, I don't know a ton on that, but, I do have a very random question here, Doug. I kind of just want to hear your thoughts. Um, we haven't had like a river guy on in a while. Anyways, but what are your thoughts on dam fishing in general?
For muskies or for fish?
I guess fish, but kind of muskies too. Like, I kind of ask this only in the fact that like when you have a dam, it's an obstruction of typically a fish moving up
Hmm.
for a reason, and usually that reason is to spawn. So it's like a lot of concentrations of fish there, and it's where snagging happens a lot. And I don't know. I've just always had thoughts on it, and
I'm a huge fan of refuges. I know I've pushed to try and get more
yeah,
refuges put in place in Green Bay. We don't have a refuge right now at the Ocano Dam, which is a huge issue for our walleyes, I think. I would love to see one there. I would love to see maybe a bigger one at Peshtigo, maybe a bigger one at Menominee. Um, but definitely a fan of fish refuges during the spawn, just to protect those fish, like you said, from spawning and just let them do their thing and not bug them and harm them. When it comes to muskies, I mean, once the season's open, the thing with dams is that it's such a great high concentration of bait fish and the whole entire food chain that it is a great area to fish. So
hmm
it's tough because like imagine in the middle of musky season, all the fish are done spawning. You're not harming the fish or water temperatures are fine. And there's the best spot in the lake, but you can't go fish it because it's a dam or it's like closed off because of this. Like that'd be really tough for me. I know there's some controversy with people just sitting at dams and fishing dams all the time for muskies. I see both sides of it. Um, and I don't want to stand on one side or the other, but I think as long as you're not doing harm to the fish or they're not trying to spawn and you're not torturing a fish or, really bugging them, I mean, I don't know how you draw a line or it'd be tough for me to
sure,
say you shouldn't
Yeah.
do that or shouldn't be
Yeah,
able to fish for them.
we're us musky guys are always walking a pretty fine line of conservation and still driving, large hooks through their
We're the
face
closest
as
thing to
much as we
fly
can.
fishermen. It's hilarious. We
Like,
are.
yeah,
you're always just, and I was even thinking about this, like we talked about the opener last week quite a bit, and there's just no perfect science to it. Like even Memorial Day weekend, it's just some arbitrary date. Hopefully the fish are relatively done with the spawn, but you just never know. Every year is going to be a little different. Maybe it's a cold spring, and they're still hanging out. Like, are you just not going to go fish? Or, the Memorial Day weekend thing. Some years it is in the end of May. This year it's, really the third week of May,
Yeah.
essentially. So it's a
I
little
was-
earlier. So it is, we do this funny thing, right, where we kind of walk this fine line of like we definitely want to protect them, but at the same time, it's like once it's open season and we're out there on the water, you're doing everything and you possibly can
Well,
to
you have to
catch
draw
one,
the
right?
line
yeah,
somewhere, right? I mean,
Right,
that's the difference.
100%.
It's
yeah,
no
Yeah,
different than 79-degree water and 80-degree water, right? It's the same freaking thing.
yeah,
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 No
totally.
different. So like you just have to draw a line in the sand somewhere. If it's Memorial Day weekend, if it's the first Saturday in May, if it's 70 degrees or if it's 80 degrees, like you got to draw a line and we have to try and put the fish first, I think is the biggest thing, and then just play off of that. So if we can have a good suggestion, I think Memorial Day weekend has worked for everybody. Everybody's used to that. Northern Wisconsin already got the later push into December. How many years ago? 5 years ago that it got extended. So
Hmm.
we
hmm
just need to, how greedy do we want to be? Because if you talk to any old timer that, the walleye fishing was great on my lake when I bought my cabin here 40 years ago, and it's never been the same since. Well, what changed? You showed up and you started keeping your walleyes and you started doing this. It's not all the muskies that are eating your walleyes. The muskies have been in there for hundreds of years. So we just got to look at ourselves and, we are generally the thing that that ruins things, and we just have to try and protect ourselves from ourselves.
Yeah. Easier
Certainly.
said than done for sure. You
100%.
know
Oh,
what I mean?
absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm not like I'm not an angel by any means. I mean, I'm sure we've all done things that, we're not proud of, or looking back, we would go back and change them, but we just have to try
Sure.
and put our best foot forward and do things that are going to be, put the fish first in the future, I think is our
Yeah.
biggest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
you
agree.
answered that really well. I didn't mean for that to be at all like a trap question or anything, on the dam fishing. It's like, hey, where do you stand, damn it,
Below the
I
dam,
was just
from a
kind of
bulldog.
I was spot locked, anchored actually.
Yeah.
Anchored. Um, but no, that's cool. I mean, I think yeah, fish refugees are definitely probably beneficial. I mean, I've just seen some of those videos of like the Ocano and Peshtigo
Yeah.
of how many walleyes in there in like a foot of water and you can just see them. It's
Mhm.
yeah, I could see something like that benefiting some sort of refuge when they're trying to spawn, eliminate people snagging the crap out of them and
And they're only there for so many days. And the DNR says, oh, it'll take shore fishing opportunities away. A lot of those walleyes come back, and maybe not the big giant ones, but a lot of walleyes come back to the rivers in the fall. We have an amazing fall Fox River walleye bite. Really, really good. Right.
Hmm.
So why not harvest them then, or why not, target them then? Like, why can't we just leave them alone? But
Yeah.
anyways, we're down a rabbit hole. Let's talk about muskies.
that's true.
I have a question about the Muskie shows for you, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, he's not even here to defend himself. But
Oh,
do you feel guilty at all for taking advantage of a drunk Brian Eckel, selling him all of your old rubber baits at the
I did
Wisconsin?
not. I don't think I took advantage of him. I let him choose his own path. He's a grown up. I think, yeah, he was very
He is
hammered.
a,
It was a great way to meet Brian. I got to meet
grown
Brian, I
up.
think, at 3 o'clock when Brian
Yep.
was in a good place, right?
Mhm.
He still had wits about him, but when he came to the bait swap at 8 o'clock, there was not a whole lot there.
There's a light switch and it turned off.
Yeah, lights are on, but no one was
Yeah, I
home.
think he bought a cool double dog.
No, he got some great stuff for you.
He
That
did.
was 100% sarcasm. I think he got some great baits for you that I was stoked he bought because I mean any bait that Brian or Gus buys, I know has a high chance of ending up on the end of my rod too. So,
Love it.
yeah, the
Full circle for all of us,
yeah,
honestly.
for all of us. So when he bought those from you, I wanted to buy more, but I just, needed to be a little bit um yeah,
You needed more liquid courage like Brian.
yeah, but
Oh
he
yeah.
got some really cool stuff from you, and I mean, you did a huge kind of offload there with a lot of rubber baits. Did you sell a majority of those, or how did that go?
I probably had like 400 baits that I tried to, and it wasn't just rubber. I mean, it was everything. It was mainly rubber. It was probably half rubber. I went down a rubber rabbit hole there for a couple of years and just bought everything I could get my hands on.
Yeah,
And that was a relatively decent deal, or maybe I'll use that color one day on this place or that place, and just bought everything. I was just like, I moved recently, and I was just like, I gotta freaking unload some of this stuff. So sold a bunch of stuff, and then I took the remaining stuff to Wausau there, and what I didn't sell there, I think I probably had about 80 baits left, maybe 100 baits left. And then I think I broke them up into like 25 a piece. I gave 25 baits to the Titletown Muskie Club for them to sell, or give away, either sell to raise money for stocking. I donated 25 baits to them. I think I donated about the same to Capital City down in Madison. I love that club. They do a great job. I always donate and support their muskie stuff every year. So donated some baits to them, and then I donated some baits to the club that put on the muskie swap at Wausau. I think I gave them about 25 baits as well. I
Wassa
don't
area Muskies Inc.
Yeah, I think that one. Yep, or whoever. Yeah, those guys. And then there was one other one I think I did too, but I just whatever I had left that I didn't sell, I was just like, I'm not gonna take these home, let them sit in the corner of my garage, give them to a kid, or let them sell them and put the money towards stocking or whatever
what
else.
what kind of got got your like your infatuation with the China rubber? Because obviously there's a lot of that in the lot, and I just curious, when did that start? How did it start? I'm assuming you still held on to some of your favorites. Didn't sell
Oh
them
yeah,
all.
I got a lot. I would honestly, it started with Kurt Hansen, the guy that owns Thorn Brothers. Just fishing with Kurt on a late fall trip, and he had this one old school pounder that I just had a really good experience with, we'll say. Caught a ton of fish on it, had a bunch of fun with it, and I just looked at it in the water and was like, wow, this thing looks different than a normal pounder. And there's a time and a place for both. Like I have a ton of China pounders, I have a ton of standard ones too. There's definitely they act differently and they do different things, and there's a time and a place for both. But the China ones are just hard to find. I mean, there's only so many of them. There's no more being made. So I dumped a bunch. I kept way more than I dumped.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. As somebody who's kind of just starting to build their own box of the China rubber baits, you were very nice enough to actually point out a double mag China deal at the Minnesota swap, if you remember that for me.
Mhm.
Thank you for
Oh,
not taking that
nice.
one. So I'm very excited to use that one
Those
this
ones are
year.
cool. Yeah. I mean, they're
Yeah.
the little fin or the little curly cues on the side, the twister
Little
tail. Yeah.
arms.
Does that matter? I have no idea.
Hang
We
Yeah,
time.
can we've concluded
I don't
that
know.
it is the reason why they catch fish. That was
exactly.
our conclusion.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
when I went down the double dog rabbit hole, I think that was 2019 is when I went down the double dog rabbit hole. Because that baited kind of like that bait's been around for a long time, right? And it kind of ran its course. And then I don't want to say I brought it back, but like I had a stellar season on it. And then I just started, posting videos. We had the viral double dog video and, the one that jumped out of the water, eating it and whatever else. So, but the first one, the one that started that whole trend was a walleye old school double dog with the two twister tails out or the two curly cues off the side. So I don't know. I just kind of hung on to that. But like the
What
viral, like,
color what color was that one? I don't know if I've seen a walleye version of that. Because
yeah,
I've seen there's the purplish black and orange one that we have a bunch. I've seen like a
Like
almost like a rainbow
a
trout
Tulip.
one, Tulibee, like
yeah, that one's
that
sick.
one. And
Those are fun.
then
Purple
Those.
and white.
and then the sucker one that you pointed out to be in Minnesota. Those are the only three colors I've ever seen of that.
Oh, there's a pro walleye, like the
Wow.
gold. Yeah, there's a pro walleye with white tails. Yeah.
Wow. It's like the gold top, white belly, white tails.
Yeah, I don't think it has maybe it does have a white belly. I think it's just the poured gold with the fleck in it. The really nice walleye with the two gold or the two white tips on the tails.
Yeah, they like what was the color? I don't know if it's called Twinkie or somebody just called it Twinkie.
Oh, yeah, I think he's a great one.
Twinkie, yeah, they made that. I wish they'd kind of bring that color back and see what they could do with it with like new
New
tech
stuff.
or
Yeah.
new stuff how they pour it because that's kind
So,
of a nice little in between gold, almost like a gold pearl type for
well,
us. I don't know, it's nice.
Warren Brothers has some really cool custom colors, and there's a couple Twinkies in there, is all I'm saying.
Oh,
There's a gold Twinkie and a
Interesting.
silver Twinkie in some of the Thorn custom line of colors.
Silver
One thing like
Twinkie.
Thorn doesn't get enough credit for is like we have an incredible line of custom colors. People just don't know,
Hmm.
like we're not a Team Rhino. Like we don't just sell custom colors, but like we have our
Right.
own shop custom colors and patterns. And honestly, Ronastrand, like Luke Ronastrand designs 90% of those.
Yeah,
yeah.
mostly rubber too.
A lot of rubber stuff. Yeah, I mean there's
Yeah.
bucktail colors too, but the ones that are probably the coolest are definitely the rubber colors.
I was actually just there yesterday picking up my extra heavy 10-foot stealth that you told
Oh
me to
yeah.
get the
Oh,
Duracork and everything. So
yeah. I love it. Yeah, I got a 4 rod sitting there that I need to go get at some point, some stealths, and I gotta walk the dog rod that I built. I'm super stoked for.
would you
Share the build or
yeah,
no?
share the build or no?
Yeah, I think I
At
did
least.
what did I do? I think I did an 8.3. It was 8.3 extra heavy predator with like
Oh,
a
okay.
16-inch rear.
Okay.
Yeah, yep, standard guides,
Huh.
palm
That makes
seat.
sense.
Yeah,
And it's typically walking it down, chopping with the
yeah,
rod tip down
yep,
for that reason.
yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Jesse
makes
has
sense.
one. I think it's 7.9. She had one made 2 years ago, and I stole that one for a while this summer, but it was a little too short for me, so I went with 8'3".
Right.
Yeah.
Right
I'm
on.
sure because you're pretty much exclusively using 10 footers, right? Or are you switching it up a good bit nowadays?
Um,
Switching it up.
I got
11 footers? Come on.
oh, I've had 11s for 2 years now.
Oh,
I do
jeez.
fish 11, so I have I have two of them. I have two 11s. So I fish the 11s with any like giant blades,
Yeah.
giant spinner baits, Like if you want to throw out a supermodel, like an extra foot of rod with those big giant blades, right? They catch so much wind and like you can't throw them. So like an
Yeah.
extra foot of rod really helps with that. The rod gets a little heavy with that much extension material in it. But the rod that I liked probably the most last year that I had a ton of fun with was a 10-6 extra heavy stealth. So like that for a bucktail rod was unreal.
Nice.
So that's
Yeah.
only
But
like a half a foot of extension in the rear.
in the rear, so the difference once you go over 7 inches of an extension in a musky rod from Thorn, they have once you go over seven, you have to do an undersleeve and an oversleeve. So you have twice the sleeve material, and then you have a lot more epoxy. So it just adds more weight, right? So with a 6 inch extension, we can just do an undersleeve. So it's about half of the added weight. So it's still super comfortable to fish, and it wasn't super bulky and cumbersome. Now I fish out of a big deep V walleye boat, right? So I'm not saying that you guys need a 10-foot 6 rod, but for me, it's nice for my customers up in the bow. It's nice for me in the back.
Yeah.
Gives you a little bit more room. Um, I mean, that's definitely a much nicer rod to fish than the 11 footer, just weight wise. The boat side stuff, the 11 footer is insane, but it's not as comfortable to fish. That 10-6,
Figure eight to the next county.
you know it, baby.
Yeah. Especially out of
Um,
the back of the boat. Oh my
yeah.
God.
And then I did build, so I think I had three 10-6 extra heavy stealths built because I have two right now. So I wanted some more because I always have an extra or two. And then I built a 10-6 heavy stealth. So I love our heavy stealth. But that's like a top water and twitch bait rod. But
Mhm.
like those fish get, so spooky and jumpy boat side with top water. I thought maybe an extra 6 inches would let me start a figure eight out a little bit further from the boat, and let me get away with a little bit more, keeping those fish further off the side of the boat than bringing them right up tight. Because I do like to keep my top waters on top,
I
at
was
least
just about to ask that.
great.
Yeah.
In the beginning of my eight, I like to keep them on top.
And another thing that I'd be curious if you've seen this before, and it's why I got turned off of doing top waters under the water at first. I didn't catch like any, and I tried it and tried it. And one thing I realized, and even talked with some other people, I think I was plunging it too quickly. And I was making like a lot of bubbly trail and noise. Like it was like,
You're too
what's the word?
aggressive. I see people
Too
take it out too
aggressive?
aggressive.
Yeah.
Like it makes a ton of noise going under.
It's it's not natural. Like it doesn't feel natural that all of a sudden something goes underwater and there's all this like bubbles and that and whatnot. I don't know. It doesn't seem right. And it
I this
spooks the
goes
fish every time.
this goes back to like who you take your advice from, but I could swear I don't remember who it was, but I remember I like heard something or watched something of somebody talking about topwater fishing and submerging your topwater when you get to the boat. And I remember Gus, I'd watched it like before we'd gone out one time in September, and I remember I tried to dunk like an MK65 like 5 feet out from the boat, and we watched a 46 just literally do like a complete 180, like it was coming in wiggly tail, and then it just was like, oh, that's not food. Just- and I'm like, what the heck? I did everything I thought I was supposed to do, and then you learn. Obviously, that was like great learning experience. Like, don't fucking do that again. Um, so it's just full circle back to like the who you take your advice from, and then also stuff that you actually see out on the water is the greatest tool.
I love that. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not but I came from like, I mean, I watched Booker my whole entire life and had a super close connection with him, and he was always a subsurface topwater guy. Like every time that top raider came in, it was going under. And I've caught a ton of fish, going under as well. But I definitely start my figure eight on top. Um, I don't want to show my whole hand right away, is kind of how I explain it to my customers. Like the bait's already been coming in on top in a straight line. I want to continue that, and then my first change is going to be a change of direction on the surf, right? Or as it's coming in, right? You can do the zigzag or like the little S turns coming in, and then when you get to the boat, you make the 90-degree turn, and then it goes into a figure eight, right? And then you show that fish the lure on top of the water, right? Now changing direction or doing a figure eight, and if the fish is slowly disengaging with the lure, then I'll take it under the water and bring it more. And to me, it's more in front of their face. It's again something different. You didn't show your whole entire hand right away. So, but once I take it under, I like to keep it under. right? Like I don't like to go
Okay.
under and then come up and then go back under. Like I keep it on top, and if the fish isn't hot or isn't interested or is falling off, I take it under, and then I kind of keep it under until they're gone. Or like my last resort might be to bring it back up. But
Sure. No, that's good advice. That's funny enough. The one and only muskie I have caught on a top water in the figure eight under the water was a top raider. Exact same scenario. I had it on top. It was a smaller fish, so it really didn't push awake. And then I saw it last minute, did a first turn, and then it buzzed off. Went around to the second turn, didn't see it again. And I think as I went around that turn, I saw it on side image. I was fishing dirty water, slowly took it under, didn't really know where it was, and then the next turn, just out of nowhere, bam,
awesome.
underwater, ate it, crushed
Yep.
it. Um, this is dead nuts on to that. That seems like a good recipe to go.
Yeah, I'm definitely a
Um,
fan of like, especially like, and I take it under like as you're in like the slowest, like the very slowest part of your outside corner, like when it's at that slowest point and they don't eat it, like right when you're about to speed up, that's when I actually take the bait under so that it's not going under at a super rapid speed, right? So you don't get that awkward, loud, aggressive plunge, right? So I
mhm.
take it under after I decide, okay, the fish isn't going to eat it in that corner. Now I'm going to take it under, but it's a lot more gradual and a lot more subtle if you take it right after that slowest point if they don't eat it versus
And
in the middle of your, figure eight when you're coming fast. Okay, I'm going to plunge it to get into this next figure eight. I don't want that.
and
Interesting.
are you specifically talking prop style baits?
Yes, tail baits. Yeah.
Basically, tail baits.
Don't
Yes.
take your
Okay.
MK65s or flap
Just gonna
tails.
say it's like, what's your experience with the flap tail? Do you
Gus, do you
dunk?
remember that happening?
Yeah, I do. I
Okay,
know what
cool.
fish you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the cleaner water lake, right? Or am I thinking that one in October? Or was it the dirtier water lake in
How
September?
many times has this happened, Max?
I just remember a follow from that size of a fish multiple times with you throwing it. And I couldn't remember if
Yeah.
it was that early October in the cleaner water around that island thing, or if it was in the dirty water in that bay, or am I not even thinking of the right fish? Do you even
Yeah.
remember?
Yes, dirty water in the bay.
Okay,
Not, yeah,
now I
anyway.
remember.
Max is
Yeah.
like, next topic, please. Let's talk
Yeah.
about
No.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
looking out like, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, what else do we want to talk about here, gentlemen? I think this has been good little smorgasbord of walleyes, muskies, preseason, getting ready for the year. I'm excited. I'm excited. I think 2026 is going to be a good one. So
I'm
we're
stoked. I'm
yeah.
really excited. We've got a banger walleye season and things have been super good. I'm hoping just carry this momentum into Muskies, baby. I'm freaking stoked. I'm jacked. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's gonna come up
Absolutely.
quick here. I mean, I mean, what is it? How many
Southern
more
Open.
weeks till? Yeah, I mean, we
Southern
got
opener's 12 days away. For
right.
13 days.
Yeah, so people are gonna be already getting out in shit. Yeah, less than 2 weeks away from now, and then with that early Northern Wisconsin opener, you're just looking at a couple weeks and or Green Bay, I should say. The Green Bay opener in a couple
Yeah.
weeks after that, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's always nice when you start seeing muskies start flooding your timeline again. I feel like it's a good cleanse that everyone needs right now.
Keeps
I caught
people
my
off the
first.
internet as much.
Yeah. I was saying I caught my first muskie of the year the other day.
Nice.
Yeah. Customer caught it on a
Sweet.
hair jig. Like it was a big one, like 48, 49 incher
Oh, jeez.
Right in
right
the
in the corner of
corner.
the mouth. 3/8 ounce hair jig.
Unreal. That had to be a fun
Jeez.
fight.
And landed it. Yeah, it was great.
Hey, oh, real? Was it windy at all, or was it a nice
No,
calm?
it was nice and calm, luckily.
That's good.
Fish, yeah, she fought for probably 5 minutes. She was pretty well tired out. Guy took her time. She was hooked perfect, but yeah, right in the corner of the mouth and grabbed her freaking old school, baby. It was awesome. She
That's
did not,
sick.
there was no chance she was fitting in the net, and I didn't want to stress her out. I'm like, well, get a video of the fish swimming next to the boat because we're either going to lose it right here. Or I'm going to get a hold of it. And I just grabbed her,
Right.
I held her up in front of the guy real quick and threw her back.
Popped it. And,
Yeah.
Back she
that's
goes.
yeah. Anytime you're sticking your hand in the water next to a muskie, it's always
Oh, so
always a
fun.
little dicey, but
It's just,
sweet.
yeah, hand landing them is just, maybe some people need to leave their net at home and just experience that once. It's fun.
Yeah. But
We
you
got like
see
a,
like the old school videos
oh
of the
yeah,
guys. They
man.
used to always like the small ones, they'd be like, nah, I'm good. I don't need the net.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just like, I'll let us sit by the boat for a little bit, and then I'm gonna grab it. You
Let me
know.
get my inner Dick Pearson out and Just grab this thing. Yeah, I don't know,
In
man.
proper country.
Yeah, I remember hand bombing like a 53 incher like 5 years ago. That was a freaking toad, big pre-spawn fish.
Good Lord.
When customer caught it on a rip and wrap, oh, it was a freaking tank.
Oh my
It was
God.
so big. Yeah, the big one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I do have two very short questions
Shoot.
to end this that I'm curious your answer on. So what is one bait you are super pumped for this season, whether it is to throw early in the spring or some let's just say summer bait. What's your one brand new
One?
bait you got this winter? And while you're thinking there, the other short question is what's going on the end of your rod immediately Green Bay opener? First bait you're
Oh, good God, Gus. Just
throwing.
man, those are two incredibly hard questions. Um, I mean, end of the rod, we're gonna have well, I'll have a 10-foot extra or 10 foot heavy stealth with probably some single bladed black bucktail. I don't know blade color, depends on water clarity at the time, but a single bladed black skirted bucktail that's
hmm
gonna hit the water at midnight. Um, man, bait I'm most excited about. I'm
Yeah, because you
bait I'm probably most excited about is gonna be that trident.
oh my God, I had my hands on it. I was literally gonna grab it
Yes,
as you're sitting there
literally.
because I'm like,
Yes.
this is the one
Look
I
at
was,
that.
yeah. I
If you
only
could
bought
tell,
the
yeah.
smaller ones.
If you could, that's fine. If I bought all the sizes. Yes, if you couldn't tell from that video, like I'm so excited for that bait. How Spencer Berman talks about that lure. That's everything you need to know
Yeah.
there.
I think it's gonna be a beautiful, deeper weed edge, deeper rubber style bite that I got going on up here. It's time and place for sure. Like I'm still gonna, if I'm throwing at shallow weeds, it's 100% gonna be like a Medusa or a bladed tube first, and then you step off the weeds, it's gonna go to a bulldog or that trident or a
I love
tube as
that. Yeah.
well. So
That trident with some swapped out hooks. I'm really stoked I guess we're releasing I worked with a company to make a couple new musky hooks that I don't know when they're coming out, but it should be sometime this season. I'm pretty stoked about those.
Sweet.
Really
nice.
stoked about those. We got to fish them last fall and they are badass to say
They
the least.
work.
Yes, they
You
were.
keep them
They
hooked.
stay in their mouths.
Yeah, they keep them pinned pretty good, and we had to cut a bunch of them. Put it that way. It's
That's
good.
usually
It'll
my favorite types of hooks.
Yes, the cut ones.
Yeah.
No, it was yeah, I'm super stoked for the season. I think yeah, the single bladed black bucktail and the trident. I think honestly I'm most excited for that bait like in the fall, but I'm gonna throw it all season. I got all the sizes. I bought them
certainly.
all. Take all my money, Paul.
You did.
Take all of my money.
You could start a bait shop if you wanted to. I'm
I do
sure.
have a lot of yeah, no, it's disgusting. It's
Part of
disgusting.
it.
It's an addiction.
It's
It's
part of the
It
awesome.
is.
fun.
It's just fun. Like buying musky baits is fun.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
all fun. I'm
What can
pumped for
I
the season. Yeah.
for
What do you say,
sure?
Max?
Oh
I'm
yeah, it's part of it. It's like what can I catch these things with?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even like you guys talked about before, like that video I did, like going through all the new baits I bought. Like I try and the problem is like you work enough of those shows and you just start staring at baits in the wall and you're like, where can I find an excuse to use this so that I buy it? And you're
hmm
just like talk yourself into a situation where like that would be the best lure for that scenario. Okay, I'm gonna buy three of them. Like that's just how it
Right.
goes.
Right.
That's what happens to me when I stand in the Thorn Brothers booth for days on end.
Yeah, you
It's
start.
dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Kurt. Yeah, you don't owe me any money for this weekend for working. I actually owe you $600. Here you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh my God.
Yeah. A
Well,
lot of good stuff out there.
you got any other questions, Max? I
No,
think
this is a
we
great chat. Thank you for coming back on, doing a little 2.0. Sorry Jack and Brian weren't here
Ah,
to
I
rough
just
you up a little
had
bit,
no, it's
but
all good. I just had Jack's dad in the boat 2 days ago.
oh
oh
nice.
no kidding.
Walleye fishing. Oh yeah, we had Big Scott in the boat the other day. We talked
Big
about all
Scott.
our summer plans. We have a super fun summer coming. Hopefully Jack's gonna get on two of our three trips. Hopefully all three of our trips, but if he could make two of them, that'd be sweet. I'm gonna have to swear him to secrecy on two of them if he does come.
Mm.
Not a lot. You guys, I'm not gonna let him talk on the pod.
Yeah, that's okay.
He'll be in big
That's
trouble.
okay.
That's totally fine. We swear him to secrecy too when we take him up here.
That's
Um,
good.
no, that's exciting for you, Doug. I mean, you get big beast in the boat during the summer. You get to learn how to work rubber baits, and I mean, that's got to be fun, you know.
Wait till
Jealous.
he sees after the schooling I gave his dad last year, and he started catching them on rubber. Like we talked about that in our first podcast, how like incredibly awkward it looked. His dad looks fishing rubber. He caught at least a dozen muskies with me last year on our
Hmm.
last two trips on rubber. It was absolutely amazing.
That's
Yeah, if
You just
awesome.
do
Jack's
it
in
a
the
pit
two hole,
bull.
he's screwed.
Oh yeah, like you
Scott's
give
catching them
Scott a
all.
pit bull and you just get the net.
I'm sure there's nothing better for you two as guides watching people catch their first fish on rubber because that is
Any kind of lure.
any kind of lure for sure. But like I feel
Mhm.
like the bucktail thing, it's like okay, it's a little more elementary. Anyone can
Yep.
throw a bucktail for the most part. Obviously, there's levels to it, but like getting that fish to like eat a big rubber bait, I think is like cool. I mean, I just remember like way back in the day when I got my first one on rubber, it was like this is awesome. Like I finally got a fish on a rubber bait, and that like feeling that tick, or even just when they head hunt it, it's kind of like nothing else. So
Or the
That's
top, yeah, top water too. I
top
got a
water
great clip.
too.
I got a
yeah,
great clip of a good customer of mine from Colorado. Got his first topwater muskie, and he was just losing his freaking mind.
just freak it
Like
out.
a 42 incher. The dude's caught hundreds of muskies. He's never got one on topwater. And he was
Oh,
losing
that's
his
cool.
freaking mind. It was great.
God.
Did it wake up behind it? Did he freak
Oh
out,
yeah,
or did it
it
just
gave him the
okay?
whole show. Caught it like the
Nice.
third turn. Like he was losing his mind.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was great.
What a sweet way to get them. Yeah, I look back at the first year that I like popped the top water cherry, and I'm like, man, that was a good top water year. I'm like, oh, that's like all I threw because I was so addicted to it. I got that first one, and I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna throw this from the back of the boat the whole time. I don't even care, whatever. You
Yeah.
know, usually it's a first bait through. Nah, I'm gonna throw it in the back. I don't really care at all. And oh, that was
Yeah,
fun. We
I'm
should get
stoked
back to
for
that.
I'm stoked for you guys. You're gonna get to make your first Canada voyage. I'm really excited for you guys. To the
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goon.
us too. A lot of
Yeah.
prep,
It'd be
but
fun.
A lot of
yeah,
prep.
be right in the heat of the season. So, all right, Doug. Well, appreciate you hopping on here. This was a great chat. Covered a lot of avenues and whatnot. We'll have you on again at some point. I know you're going to be busy. This was a lot, even just during your walleye guiding season to set up. We're
Yeah.
sitting on a beautiful Sunday midday. Probably one
Yeah,
of the first times we've ever recorded a podcast at this time of day.
sorry. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
my
nice.
schedule's a nightmare and we're going back out fishing here in an hour and a half. So
Best of luck.
Get it, get a
get
nap
back.
in. Good luck and stay in touch.
Okay. Thanks, boys. Appreciate you.
All right. See you, Doug.
See you, boys.
See you, Doug. All right, welcome back. Just had a great interview there with Dougie Fresh, Doug Wegner down there in Green Bay. He is smacking the walleyes right now. Pretty jealous of those size of fish, the caliber that they bring in on Green Bay is very impressive. Cool stuff. Covered a wide variety of things. Brian, you're gonna have to listen back, I guess. You know, you weren't there
Oh,
there
Gus.
for it, so
Yeah, Gus. Brian, what was your biggest takeaway from the interview? See how close you
God,
can get.
where do I start? About walleyes in Green Bay.
they were talked about.
What was something that just blew your mind when we were talking to Doug?
Honestly, it was what like he's how willing he's gonna be this year to get me out on his boat in Green Bay because he just learned at the expo that I live right down the road,
Yeah.
and so like in the interview we talked about getting out together, so that'll be fun.
I think
Fortunately,
right.
that was not brought up in the interview, but hey, that was a good swing
Sorry
though.
about that.
Yeah,
Strike one. Strike one.
wishful thinking.
Yeah, no, always a pleasure to have Dougie Fresh on. Good time. All right, Brian, let's hear it. Give us a recap on your time in Las Vegas. Did you have fun? Did you be safe? Did you keep your head on your shoulders?
Yeah, like we debriefed before, didn't really know what I was getting into. I will say, like, the whole feel of it is kind of crazy. Like, it sits amongst these mountains on this, like, dead flat desert floor. and it's just like a tropical oasis amongst these big ass resorts. It feels like a movie set kind of when you're driving by it on the outskirts. Um, I don't know. It's like a grown-ups gigantic Wisconsin Dells. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but
It's
Great
pretty
Wolf.
good, probably.
yeah, I mean, I could probably tell a long story, but to keep it semi-short, the first night, got there at the tail end of kind of our work duties for that Thursday. Went out and hit the casino thereafter and had the best luck I've probably ever had playing blackjack and was hitting at like a 70-80% clip.
Now, why do
Uh,
you think that was? Was it Vegas? Like,
I think it
what do
was
you think?
beginner's luck. It could have been like the casino gods being like, all right, he's at our temple now. Let's reward him.
Mm.
So I ended up, you start, I mean, they're like 25 or $50 minimums. I forget what we started on. I think I started like 300 bucks in and, pretty quickly started building it up. And, some drinks start pouring in. You're sitting there longer and longer. You get a little antsy, you get a little eager. You start feeling good about yourself. Start betting $100 hands.
Oh,
When I changed that bet to 100, I hit like my first eight bets in a row, hit eight hands. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm just funneling the $100 chips, my winnings, into my suit coat pocket just so that I
mm.
don't start betting, something stupid. And
Smart, smart.
so play it for like, I don't know, an hour. And eventually I just stand up because I'm like, I got to figure out how much I just made. And I ended up making, in that sitting, I was at like $1,500. I was like, all right.
All right, full stop. Now, did you take my advice after you had that good of a night?
Um, I know it was great advice. It's just slipping my mind.
Sounds like he took it.
Well, I remembered your advice of starting on like Fremont and easing into things.
No, no, no. I said that night. Oh, yeah, you I guess I probably gave you that advice that evening. I said take like 700-800 bucks and hide it in your suitcase.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, that's exactly what I did.
For the entire weekend.
Yeah, don't touch it. Just pretend it didn't even doesn't even exist.
And I hid it because I was worried about, I was originally just gonna money spread it on the bed while I was going for work all day, but I was worried about housekeeping, so I did
Mm,
stuff it in a sock and put it in the suitcase. But anyways, I'm like up 1,500 bucks. I'm there with a couple coworkers. A lot of people went to bed early, but I'm like, I got to break the seal here first night. Went over to the bar, started mingling around, chatting with some folk. The whole where are you from thing. End up go playing some more blackjack at like 1:30 in the morning and kind of continue the same luck. Ended up winning another quick 500 bucks and was up like 2 grand on the first night. So I think we wrapped it up at 2:30 or 3. Went to bed for 3 hours, got up at 6, and yeah, did the whole work thing again. Friday night went to a club, um, had
To
a
go
booth
spend
at a
money.
club, yeah, which was sick. Didn't actually gamble on
wow, good
Friday
time.
because we were just out, listening to some EDM, I guess, doing the whole clubbing thing, which is pretty foreign coming from Appleton, Green Bay area. But
Sure.
great time there. I think that night was like 2.5 hours of sleep. And
Hmm.
then did the
Good,
work thing
good.
again Saturday. Some guys didn't sleep. Some guys that I was with were literally out till 6 a.m., went home, showered, and showed up at our work event.
Damn.
I at least got a couple hours of nap time. And then Saturday did some more gambling. This time got hit with reality a bit. I think Vegas was kind of like, we can't let them think that it's always free. Probably lost a quick, 500. Played it then again after dinner, lost another couple hundred. Um, and at this point, kind of cut my losses. I think we ended up going to like a bar or something and, uh, had some expenditures with the club from the night before. So all in all, I came home with cash, which is obviously good. I didn't absolutely drain it. Only
Mhm.
went to the ATM once. Um, so yeah, I mean that alone helped the hangover on Sunday. Last thing you want is to be terribly hungover off of a combined 8 hours of sleep through 3 nights, and also have lost your ass gambling. So I had a good taste in my mouth leaving Vegas, and that's why, I'm like, you know what, I would go again. That was fun.
All in all, successful trip, I'd say.
Yeah.
Give us one thing that you were a big fan of, maybe something that surprised you a little bit, and then one thing that you were not as stoked on.
Um, I don't know. I didn't do the whole like touristy part of Vegas. Like I don't know if I was ever on the strip per se, other than like maybe an Uber once. So like I'm not even sure exactly where like that strip is that you see the typical pictures of. I was
Pretty obvious.
I mean
Like the
yeah, I don't know.
Bellagio?
Yeah, I guess I maybe saw that. I don't know. I
You're
was
staying
in
like a half a block away from it.
we were in the Vidara and then we would gamble in the Aria or the Cosmo.
Which is
We
right
went
next to the Bellagio.
right. We went to a club called XS, which is kind of a little bit more across town. Um, was gonna go to Caesars. I don't think I ever stepped in there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like my my vivid memories are of the Aria and the Cosmo, and that's kind of where I lived. Which honestly, they were smaller than I thought they'd be in terms of the casino floor. I thought it was going to be like outrageously big, but you kind of walk in and walk straight into like the tables right away. So you kind of hang out, in that area. You're not like wandering aimlessly like you are at some of these casinos that we're used to. Um, so yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't have like a worst takeaway other than like you buy 5 drinks and it's like 120 bucks. So that was pretty
Not
cool.
not drinks for free. Do they even do that at all anymore?
No, at the table you do. At the table you get free drinks. So that's where yeah. I mean, that's how they get you because you got to drink while you
I was gonna
can.
say, I'm sure they were feeding you heavy when they saw you just going up and up and up
Yeah.
that
Also, I
first
will
night.
say, first time experiencing this, they don't have this in the Great North Woods, but you're sitting there, right? You got a lady coming up to you for drinks. You get a free drink. You have ladies walking by every 10 minutes asking if you want a massage while you're playing blackjack.
Hmm.
That's incredible. So at first I'm like, who the hell would do this? This is just the dumbest thing
You did
ever.
not do
Sounds
it.
like you partook.
Well, eventually one thing leads to another. I'm losing money. I'm having some drinks, chatting with a couple guys, and lady keeps coming around. I keep giving her the old, maybe later. And so I think I let her on, and she just kept showing up every 10 minutes. You ready? You ready? So finally, I was like, you know what? Tossed her a chip, and I was getting a massage on the floor playing blackjack. And it was a great experience. Time really it like flies by. I mean, you're in a vacuum there. You don't even know where you are, and
Uh,
a little slice of heaven, really. So
I'm overall just geeking out at all the musky people listening to this. Like, what the hell is going?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
maybe like a newer listener that's not doesn't know the lore behind Brian and what he does
I
extra time.
Yeah, I was really honestly I felt my hangovers were better than I thought they'd be, and I think it was because I slept so minimally. Like I feel like the hangover really kicks in when you do sleep more. I don't know what the science is behind that, but like I
Not
think I was just
much.
waking up drunk and never like getting that hangover kick. Until Sunday is when I
Let's
was
just
like
say.
I was sitting in the airport waiting my flight to take off, and my eyes were literally shutting. It was boarding in like 10 minutes, and I'm just nodding off, sitting there.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that city kind of just brings it out in you though. I've felt the same
yeah,
way there. You're just when you're there, you're kind of just there. You don't really think about,
no.
sleeping or whatever. So
Well, and then you kind of get stuck in the trance. Like last night, Monday night, went to work all day Monday, and I'm sitting there kind of like, man, I could grab a drink, go to the casino. So now
Ain't
I'm
no
kind of
way.
out of it. I'm back in the routine, but
yeah, yeah, back to reality. Yeah, that's hilarious. I know.
yeah,
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it's a wild place.
yes, it
Glad you had a
is.
good time though. That's awesome.
Now,
Um,
did you rep any Mott gear out there? Were you recognized? Because I
I did
heard a
not,
story from
dude.
a buddy in town here. He was there for was it the Frozen Four Max? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that Vegas, right? Hockey?
WWE was there. Oh, this was
WWE
the
was
week
there too.
before or something. Yeah.
Yeah, week before or whatever. And they had Mott gear and got recognized
No
while
way.
there. I don't know if it was because it was like at the hockey thing and hockey goes a little bit more hand in hand with the Midwest and whatnot, but
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised on that. That was another little small world uh coincidence
Yeah,
thing
that's
that's
crazy.
crazy.
with the Mott
Cool.
gear. Vegas.
Good stuff. Um, all
So,
right. Anything else to put a bow on this one, or are we kind of covered our bases here? I mean, we're still well, we got the PMTT and Cave Run that's starting this week. So that's exciting for all the folks that are down there. It sounds like that they're at a normal pool and water clarity is a little different. So
Is
Yeah,
there
we
we're missing out on the year where things
it's
could be
good
a little
here.
normal. Maybe it'll be
normal.
good, but I'll
Do you
be
guys have
curious
some of
to
the
be
Eagle River buddies going down?
Uh,
Nobody.
Pete Blickards and his
partner.
partner Jared, and then Pete's dad is fishing with another guy. Otherwise, I think there's a couple other guys. But Nick and Clayton will not be down there. Max and I will not be down there. Um, but yeah, another interesting thing that they added, they went to the Fish Donkey app. So we're gonna have plenty of people that we know doing the tournament. We're gonna get maybe a little rundown on how it went, if it was smooth, if it was not smooth. Because Max and I will be curious. We're planning on doing the Eagle River PMTT event. So we're gonna have to be ready to roll on that. I think I have the app. I used it this winter for a winter long like fishing contest with buddies, but that's all I've ever used it for. I don't think you've ever used it, Max. Brian, I don't know if you really ever have.
I've heard of it, but I
Um,
don't understand. Is it for like validating fish or just keeping track of leaderboard or
both like pictures will be in there that I think only like, the PMTT can see. I think I don't this is where, we're gonna get the
Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I
see how
mean,
it goes. I think the
but
one thing that I found interesting that I don't know if you know this, Max, I haven't brought this up to you or Brian. Um, I think they're gonna keep a live leaderboard on until like an hour or two before it ends each day, which I think is a bit odd because then you can see like when somebody moves up. Like you're seeing the live feed, like all of a sudden, oh, team this one caught fish. You could be like, oh, I know where they are, or I know what team that is, and like
yeah.
that's a little interesting. It's kind
Yeah,
of like
that will
back in the
be
day with
interesting.
the judge boats, where when you see a judge boat go flying by, you know that they're going to register a fish, or you have your secret radio turned on like they did back in the day, and you're listening into the channels, like, and you know what teams are
yeah.
catching. So I thought that was a little odd. I was talking with Pete about that, and he wasn't sure about that. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
see
could
how
see
that
that
goes.
being potentially, I don't know if problematic's the right word, but yeah, it definitely brings up some interesting things that could happen. But I also, I don't, I guess we'll see when we fish in June. I can't imagine we'll be tracking that very heavily, like when we're out on the
I
water.
wouldn't, I
I
wouldn't
don't think
want
I'd want to
to.
see that ever.
I feel like if you're like, all right, we're gonna drive across the lake, like one of you is gonna be like, all right, if we caught one fish, let's see if we're
Yeah.
getting dusted
Going
or
through a
not. But
channel or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's true. Yeah, you might just want to at least just see. Well,
we
I'd be
should we
curious
should
to know how like updated it'll be too. I
yeah.
mean, tech and
I'd be shocked
Cave
if it's
Run
like up to
musky
the minute.
tournaments, cave runs got terrible service,
it's
and
got a ton of hollers with no
it
service.
also could kind of work against you too. Like, maybe you think you're in a better position than you actually are, and not saying that you're out there not trying to catch fish, but I don't know. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I'm excited to see the results of that tournament this year. Hopefully everyone does well, and bummer that we're not down there, but
We
we'll
should
most likely
try
see
and get
everyone in Eagle
someone
River.
on, for like a quick segment, especially just to kind of debrief how that fish donkey thing went, and then to maybe kind of sum up how the fishing was. I don't know, in the
Oh
next
yeah.
few weeks if we can find a player
It
in the
might,
field.
yeah, it might have to be the following week. I'll be traveling next week and we already got an interview lined up. But I think that wouldn't be a bad idea just to kind of see how it went with those conditions and then also the fish donkey for
Yeah,
sure. I think
yeah.
people would be
Sweet.
curious about that.
All right. Well, what do you
Cool.
guys say? Episode 150 in the books?
It's golfing
150 in
season.
the books. I think I got one thing to add. I just went onto my mind. If you guys are, whoever's still listening, if you are in, man, the greater northern Illinois area, southern Wisconsin, anywhere in Wisconsin, even Minnesota, there's a tournament and fundraiser outing all in one going on in May. Let me see if I can bring up this date real quick, but it's casting for kids. Um, Marco Siki is putting it on, and it's for a really good cause. It is Saturday, May 16th. So if you're around, I think if you're a guide, you can be a guide boat during it. If you just want to fish it for fun, with your own boat, you can fish it. If you want to fish with a guide, you can fish it. It's like a tournament thing, and there's like a ton of there's a crap ton of raffles, like a lot of signed hockey jerseys because Mark's got a lot of hockey background and coached for the Badgers for a long time, and pretty cool stuff there. So yeah, if you wanna get on something really cool opportunity, check out Casting for Kids and get a hold of Mark. So fortunately, I'm not gonna be able to do it this year, but I want to one of these years.
Cool.
Right on.
Otherwise, that's it. I think Brian, take us
All
away. I don't know
right.
what you're gonna say about
All
Doug's
right, everybody.
introductions you were there.
Shout out to Dougie Fresh for hopping on for this interview. Had an absolute blast with him. Really had a good time on Sunday with him. I'm going to toss this one over to you guys here. I'm not the hockey guy. I'm curious to hear who your guys' maybe biggest impression for the first few games here, or your maybe a hot take, dark horse contender in the NHL playoffs. Go.
Ooh,
Sabres. Buffalo.
Sabres.
I absolutely love the Sabres game that the other night. Dark horse.
Wild.
I mean, wild, but
Yeah,
Avs are gonna beat him.
Avs.
Yeah,
God,
too tough of a path.
such a homer, dude. All right, peace.
All right, peace.